All right, well, wake up, YPN in the morning, people. We have Yared Riveria here, and I'm excited because this is actually a pre-recording, pre-Kentucky Derby event, and we're all excited right now for the event.
This is the first time that we're actually doing our show not live.
Right,
which gives us opportunity to actually do a little bit of editing and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But,
absolutely.
And it's because we have a special guest, and thank you very much.
No, thank you guys so much for having me. I love the energy. I love the bow tie.
He is bow tie.
I can't wait.
This is bow tie Rob.
I can't wait to wear my hat later. This was super exciting.
Super exciting. So let me just kind of introduce you here. And you're from Las Vegas, Nevada, not to be confused with Vegas, New Mexico.
Which prayers.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
Thoughts of prayers. Going out to all the folks for all the fires that's happening out there. It's no bueno. We definitely hope that turns around. 30 years as a Clark County resident and designated broker of My Home Group for 17 years. Master of Science, focused on marriage, family therapy, counseling from University of Phoenix, which God knows we all need more therapy, right? That's awesome. Region 11 NAR YPN Advisory Board. And we'll talk a little bit about what the advisory board is and how that helps us here at YPN. 2022 Las Vegas Realtors Vice President, and you were the 2018 President of Las Vegas Realtors Women's Council of Realtors.
Yes.
And last but not least, 40 under 40. Congrats on that, right?
For 3 years, right?
Well, yes, a few years ago, 40 under 40, YPN's 40 under 40, 16, 17, and 18.
See, we started our YPN too late for me. I'm already past
But
that.
you started it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So maybe
we still got this.
I'll take it from here.
maybe we can do like an honorary recognition for you.
Right on. I appreciate that.
Or we'll let Josh take it away with the quote for
Awesome. So we start off every show with either an anecdote or a quote or something like that. That's usually relevant to what we're talking about. I try to stay on task because we're talking about YPN and kind of how we started off and what it is and that kind of thing. I thought about beginnings as kind of what my quote needed to be in line with for this show. And I found this one. It's anonymous, but it says, "Trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible." And I think that when we first started this, it was literally just like a seed. We like started it off as something where none of us had any clue what we were going to do. It was just a couple of us literally in this room around this table that were like, so these are the things that we're going to accomplish, and then we're going to be the kind of like the glue that fills in all the cracks for the whole association, and we're like, we can help with everything. We can do everything. And remember, we were like super excited to just do that. And I think that that's why that's the quote I picked.
Yeah, it's very relevant too. I think to even just the global things happening around the world of
uncertainty
going on.
Well, for real. I mean, our market is interesting. It's definitely different than it's ever been.
The market's getting
Thanks
better.
Christ,
Oh, you guys are lucky.
Our market is finally starting to somewhat balance out a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Properties
I'm
are
so
still
jealous.
lasting, a little bit more than 4 hours.
You know what I can
5 hours.
The rental market. So I'm a property manager, and the rental market is still pretty we're in the wild west right now. I got to tell you, there's prices keep going up, and it's because of the sales market kind of. The lack of inventory on the sales market pushes the rental rates through the roof, and people need somewhere to live. If somebody is going to sell their house, they still can't even find another place to move into. So we have some interesting hurdles that we're overcoming.
We definitely have some challenges ahead of us that we need to work through. Yeah.
But I think really and we talk all the time about it comes with we need more rooftops. We need to build more. We need to
Listing.
Right. that's how it goes, you know? I think that's probably a nationwide thing, you know?
Yeah, it's great that you mentioned that because I actually just got in here. I flew in here from our legislative meetings in DC, our NAR legislative meetings, and one of the things that was talked about during the directors' meetings was how do we provide more housing and affordable housing for the consumer out there, and that was one of the things that we were talking about was we need to we need to build more. And how do we do that if we have a lot of land that we can't build on because
Right.
it's regulated?
Right.
So how does that?
Which we have an issue with that here in
Yeah.
New
Well,
Mexico.
with the
in
Pueblos,
Albuquerque. We've got
for sure, yeah.
reservations on two sides,
Yeah.
and then we have Mesa, where the cost of getting utilities up onto the West Mesa, you know, historically has been, you know, quite a challenge.
Right. So that is definitely one of the challenges. Building new homes because of the lack of land to build on, that becomes difficult. It becomes expensive. We have corporate buyers also buying up a lot of inventory. That also becomes very difficult for your homeowner, for, the one that is actually going to live in the property. So, and not that corporate buyers are bad. It's just, we're here to advocate, obviously, for private property and homeowners, and we want to see people in homes. So we have a lot of challenges ahead of us, and we all need to figure out how we're going to work through it.
Well, and I like that you brought up the corporate buyers. I mean, that's a situation where, you know, corporate buyers come in and they can afford kind of whatever.
Astronomical
you know,
prices.
in New Mexico right now, the average family income can't afford the average sales price.
Right.
You know, so we're in this weird situation where first time buyers are having huge challenges where what are they going to do? You know, like
Right.
there isn't anything on the market that's actually within their price range, and less and less all the time. So yeah, it's a little scary. And corporations come in and they can buy up at whatever, and the rates keep going up.
They have money that homeowners mostly don't have.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, exactly.
So it's challenging.
It's pretty interesting.
Did they talk at all about ways that they can advocate for getting like investors to build more multi-family types
Not
of
yet.
homes? No, still.
Hey, we talked about these are things. These are challenges that we have in the market, and these are things that we need to work on and figure out ways to make it better.
I heard that a big thing last week was the diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Huge.
And that's something that we've been talking about here in Albuquerque. YPN is always kind of, we started our committee with the idea that we just wanted to invite everybody
Yes.
of all ages, all everything, anybody, you know, if you're a new realtor, even if you aren't a new realtor, come on in. We wanted everybody join.
Right.
You know, as a
Well, and our
marketing.
thing is the starting line.
Right.
Leadership, inclusion, networking, and education.
Right, and that's what YPN is all about, is including everyone, and so it's not just young, right? It's young at heart, young in the business,
It's one
Come
of
on
the
in.
hardest things that for us to get across to a lot of individuals is it's young at heart, young in the business.
Well, and that was one of the things when we were promoting our Kentucky Derby. They're like, that's that young professionals thing, and I'm like, it's also RPAC. I'm like, think about this. If you think you're too old to be part of this, think of that you're part of that too. You know,
Right.
Like, be there. You know, so.
Well, and be the example.
Well, speaking of YPN, did you want to kind of enlighten our listeners about like sort of not only just what YPN is, but more so specifically, what is YPN on a national level? And going back to the advisory board stuff, like let's
So
hear
on
about
a
that.
national level, we're here to support you guys. So we're here to support all of our YPN networks throughout the country, and whether it is whether you want to open a new chapter, or if you want us to come down and speak about any topics, we have all of our advisory board members that sit on our AB. We will fly out, just like I did with you guys, and we'll talk about RPAC, leadership, social media. We all have different topics of conversation that we prefer to speak on, and we are here to support you in any way that we can, because we want all of you guys we want all of our networks to be successful, and that's what we're here for, is to support you. I also want to say that we're huge. When you go to NAR and you go to our meetings, it's really cool because you get your leadership, and when I say leadership, you get your executive board at NAR, and they always come at the beginning of the meeting to say hello to YPN, which is actually really special because they don't go into all of the committee meetings to visit everyone because there's just so many and there's no time and they're spread so thin. So it's very special to us that leadership comes in and they recognize us and they always talk about us because we are the future. YPN is the future. We're here to advocate not only for our PAC, but also we want to create leaders. And part of being in YPN is creating leaders that we will see move up in our business, in leadership, and support. And we're here to not only grow ourselves, but also to locate those up and coming leaders and to help them and support them and push them into that arena as well because we need to replace ourselves. We can't be here forever, right? And so part of being a leader is knowing when to replace yourself. So we're here to pick up everybody else. One day we're not going to be here. We can't be here forever.
That was one of the first things that we talked about. We sat and we decided that we needed to keep the ball rolling and keep the wheel turning. And, I didn't want to be a dictator that ruled the kingdom forever. So the vice chair was going to take my role, and then we were going to have that succession. And it's been actually, I think for a couple of years now, we're doing a good job so far.
Yeah. That's one of my goals too, as chair this year, is to just try and keep these systems in place that we have, maybe improve upon them, and exactly as that, pass the torch.
Yeah, and it's such a great feeling. For me, anyways, and for a lot of people that I speak to, it's such a great feeling when we can sit here and lift each other up and see that person that maybe just was scared or wanted to get their feet wet, and then all of a sudden you watch them flourish, whether it's in their business or in leadership or whatever it is that they want to do. Like you're like, yeah, like you just become so happy for them, because you're advocating for them, you're cheerleading for them, and I love it. I love to see people flourish, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, because the best leaders are those who don't want it, right? So that's what I hear when I hear you say that.
Right. So being a leader isn't about telling people what to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's about leading by example. It's about advocating. It's about helping everybody else. Being a leader is really supposed to be selfless. It's not about you. It's about everybody else.
So how does one make it onto the advisory board? What is the process to become part of that?
I'm going to be honest, I don't even know how I ended up on the advisory board.
I had this idea that I was going to apply this year, and then I went and looked at what the criteria. I've done a lot of things here locally and in our state, but I'm still not qualified
ready
yet. I think I'm not, or I don't feel qualified yet. I think
so NAR sends out applications for committees every year. I think the applications are out right now to apply
right until
for
May 13th.
To apply for NAR committees. So you apply for the committees that you want to serve on, and then there's a whole process where your leadership team at NAR, they go over all of these applications. And I don't know what their process is. So that's how I say I don't know how I ended up here, right? But so I don't know what their process is. And so they are the ones that choose who gets on there and what goes on there. And so we have, I want to say it's 18. We have representation for all of our regions. And I think we have 18 advisory board members. And we all travel. And there was about, don't quote me on this number, but it was somewhere around 1,200 or 1,300 that applied for those positions.
Wow.
Throughout the country. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
So congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited. I love it.
No, so I sent an email to Rob Reuter, right? And I was like, hey, I was thinking about this. And he goes, well, Yared just took the Region 11 spot, and it's got this term. He goes, it's not unheard of that more than one person could be from any one region, but that's the thing, is that we do have representation, and excellent representation.
Thank you.
As well. I'm sure. But that was what I saw. Is I also dug into kind of what the qualifications were, and it's heavy. It's one of those things. Like you need to be fairly substantial to be leading. And it's really,
which is good, because you do definitely want the qualified individuals in the leadership.
Well, and it gives you something to strive for too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, I could get there. I just need to do a few more things, which I already was planning on doing. You know? So,
We can all get there.
right. That
Yes.
was exactly my feeling. Was okay, well, there's
Well, don't give
there's
up.
the new goal.
Don't give
you
up.
know? Right. Well, that's one of those, where our big goal this year was really to promote YPN throughout the state, and we started off in January where we had our state meetings. We had actually Amanda Lott sent us a video to kind of promote, because she was unable to attend, but she sent us
Right.
a very nice kind of welcome video
She's
for the
great.
state. It was really great,
Yeah.
really great. And we went to Santa Fe, and we had all of the associations there, and we spoke about what we've been doing here in Albuquerque and how they can get themselves started and what they need to look up and what they need to do. And I've spoken over the last couple of months with a few of those different associations, and I think really New Mexico should be really kind of up and coming as far as what YPN is going to do. In the future.
That's great. And I expect to see you at Advance, because you are the vice chair, incoming chair. So we have this event.
Which we should talk about.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yes.
So the YPN Advisory Board puts on, NAR has their leadership week in August in Chicago. And so the week is, they do it for their incoming president-elects and for for associations, whether it's local or state, and they do stuff with regional. And YPN does our Advance, which is for the incoming chairs for the following year. So we put on this event, and it's a leadership event for the chair. So it's really special, because and this is why I say YPN is so special, because NAR really is committed to all of YPN networks succeeding. So which is why we have this leadership conference. And so we get to do a lot of fun stuff, and we hang out for a couple of days, and we mastermind and with all of the incoming chairs throughout the country. So it's great for networking. It's great for getting ideas for your following year. It's great, just to even plan out what you want to do for the following years. Write out your goals, what you guys want to do as an association, as a YPN, and so it's going to be a fun time.
Awesome.
And
Really?
Chicago's pretty fun anyway.
So I've never been to Chicago. I've been to the airport.
You'll love it.
But we're actually very big Cubs fans.
Yeah. I was going to say, Josh is going to attend every Cubs game available that weekend.
That was always a plan. When I was
was.
going the first year before it got canceled, I literally had it mapped out. Like, these are the games, and this is the conference, and this was it's a true thing.
Get some Jenny's ice cream around the corner.
Right.
Yeah, man. All right, so that's in August.
That's in August.
We have.
We're committed to you guys succeeding, is what it is.
Well, and we're committed to succeeding. We want to see YPN flourish here. We want to see YPN flourish throughout New Mexico and at the state level.
Well, I think so, and that's really one of the things that our biggest goal for this year was just to let everybody know what we. I mean, we did a pretty good job starting off here in Albuquerque locally, but then when we went to the state, there were so many people that were just like, "What is this?" And, and of course a lot of the people that attend the state meetings are the older, more seasoned realtors. It wasn't necessarily a whole lot of the brand new.
but
young
that's
people.
changing.
It is, and I
Thanks
think
to
that
YPN.
That's where it
That's what I
starts.
was gonna, That's what I was
Absolutely.
going to say.
Yeah.
Is I actually, because we put on the schedule for the meetings this year, we had almost 2 hours to talk about YPN, and we did. We filled the entire time. We put on a show and had a lot of interaction from the other associations. So I can say that I definitely am very, very excited about what's to come. Let's see.
I was going to just summarize, take nothing else from this conversation, what we just talked about, mentorship and community building. That's the biggest part, I think, of YPN and why it's important for not just us here in Albuquerque, but like what were you talking about, it's expanding throughout New Mexico. Why do the other associations even care or even need or want a YPN at their association? Community building with the events that we do and bringing those younger, not just younger, but newer realtors, right, into the fold and being more involved in their associations and community at large with the mentorship from the older realtors. That's the way I see it. And I think I've heard a lot of that today, and I just wanted to hammer that
How
point
old is the
home.
YPN network or committee in Vegas?
In Vegas, I want to say about maybe 10 years old, give or take.
Yeah. So we, GAAR had tried to start one up years ago, and I think it kind of started to do something and then somehow fizzled out. And then we started it up again 3 years ago. And basically we've started with those goals. Our goal, we made an acronym, starting line, right? And it was, leadership, inclusion, networking, and education.
Right.
And we decided that every year we were going to have one event for every single one of us.
Yes, yeah, I'll say that too. Yeah.
And that's what we've done is so we have like advocacy. That's our RPAC event, our
Yes.
Kentucky Derby, our big thing
Can't
that we
wait.
do.
Wait to see my hat.
Oh man.
I just finished making my hat this morning.
You know what it took to get me a seersucker suit? I searched every store in Albuquerque, antique stores, old folk, like every place I could think of, and nobody even knew what seersucker was, right? I had to find it out of Hollywood, some kind of like costume shop, and I ordered it online. You just wait, I've got a 3-piece seersucker suit. I love it. It's like my prized possession. I only wear once a year.
Yeah. I make my hat every year.
Oh, you do?
So I buy a big hat, but then I put my own flair on it. So last year I had a big blue hat and I had sunflowers all over it to match my dress. I made mine this year. It's going to be great.
I bought my hat.
That's okay.
But this is why I love this event so much. So when I was Women's Council President of Las Vegas in 2018, and I had a Kentucky Derby event in
awesome.
2018, and I bought this hat, and it was super expensive. Like it was like a real derby. Like I went all out. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So I bought it, and everyone was like, you're crazy. I spent so much money. Like I'm never going to wear this hat again. So I'm so excited that I'm putting this hat to use.
There you go.
Well, and it
It's
totally.
been sitting in my closet for 4 years.
Well, it's funny that's totally how the event came up. Like I had this idea. I don't know. I don't even remember how exactly I thought it up. But we were talking about RPAC, and all of a sudden I was like, "That's what YPN can do." And I'm like, realtors love to have bougie parties. Let's throw an awesome, over the top kind of
Bougie party.
Everybody get dressed up, wear your big hats,
Yep.
come on out, that kind of thing. And
I think that has a lot to do with realtor personalities, though.
I think so.
Most of us we're all entrepreneurial, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten into this business. And I
Right.
think with that comes certain personalities.
Yes.
Well, and it was a thing where, so we dealt with pandemic, like I said, that's how this show, evolved and started, was that we didn't have a way to meet with people in person. So we actually had plastic screens up
So
for a
fun.
long time.
Yeah.
And we would wear masks until the show started and stuff like that. It was, a whole lot of fun. But the whole idea was that realtors need to have that interaction. And what we found is that,
We're people.
We
Yeah.
really are. Well, I hope so.
Don't be selling people's homes if you're not. If you hate people, stay out of our business. Not that we don't want everybody, but
So going back to, what YPN can offer, you were saying in 16, 17, and 18, you were the YPN 40 over 40. Or 40 under 40.
Yes. So
What is that?
So it's you guys have heard of the 30 under 30, right? That NAR has. YPN, we do it for nationwide. So 40 under 40 is an award, a YPN award, or more of a recognition. We like to call it a recognition. It's not an award. But what it is we send out the applications. If you have to qualify, obviously you have to be under 40. And again, it's for encouragement, and it's also to recognize those upcoming leaders. The application consists of how much money have you invested in RPAC? What is your what is what do your sales look like? How are how are you doing your sales? How involved are you not only in your community, but how involved are you in the association? Have you served as a chair? Do you go to committees? Do you do community outreach? So it's more of a recognition of a well-rounded realtor, because as realtors, we talked about community. We want to be involved in the community. That's what we do. We build communities when we're selling homes. We're literally helping build communities, right? So how involved are you in your community, and how involved are you with your association and seeing the success of your association and your peers? And so there is an application, and the applications come in, and then these applications, and I can only speak of how we do it in Las Vegas, so I don't know how other places do it. um, the applications will ask, and again, RPAC is one of them. How involved are you? Because it's important, it's part of what we do, and we're going to talk about RPAC in a little bit. And so there's like a scoring system, and then the top scores are your top 40, and then they get recognized at a big huge event. We have a big bougie party, and they get recognized. We do not give that recognition for more than 3 times. So once you have received the 40 under 40 3 times, then you are put into the Hall of Fame. So you are now a YPN Hall of Famer, and I was inducted into our Las Vegas YPN Hall of Fame in 2019. And so that's kind of what it is.
So that's not a national thing. That's something that Las Vegas does.
So we do it in Las Vegas, and I know that there are other YPNs in the country that do it. I know Arizona does it. I know like Florida does it. So there's other states that do it. We're not the only ones, but it's definitely something that can be created.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
NAR
something
does
to
a
bring
30
up to
under
your-
30, right?
Yeah, so NAR does 30 under 30. That's nationwide.
Might be something to think about as the NMAR chair for
Yeah,
YPN.
it would be something to promote for the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, and it's fun, and people get excited to get recognized, and to show that, and it shows talent, and it shows the talent that you have in your state, in your association, whether it's locally or whatever. And so it's a great thing to have.
Well, and that's one of those things that we definitely are liking, and trying to do. Like I said, leadership is our first little tenet there, and we've pushed. We've got Rob was affiliate of the year this year. Heather was good neighbor last year. We've pretty much everybody in our committee is on
It's been
multiple
recognized.
committees or has been recognized in some way or another. And we definitely, as far as we're promoting and building our next leadership, we're pushing for them to be doing those same things. And definitely community outreach is a huge thing for us. That was one of our, we do yearly, we do a laundry love event, which is really cool. We partnered with United Way of New Mexico, and we do, in the month of February every year, we do this really big thing where we gather laundry supplies and stuff like that. So, that's one of those like pushes that we do, and every chair has to kind of, that's like the first thing. As soon as you become chair, you get to all of a sudden have a big job to do. Right? Is that
Yeah, and we couldn't do anything without the support of the committee, honestly. Being chair, I think, is more so just facilitating those things and keeping them going. And I always want to shout out to Seth about getting us on board and even bringing that to the committee's attention. Hey, this is an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Seth was very passionate about that. United Way in particular. So yeah, we're definitely trying to keep that, pass the torch, right? On that Kentucky Derby, the Halloween event we do. And if we can squeeze another blood drive in at some point, we'll do that.
So we did blood drive, we've done book drive, we've done a couple different things, but I think both of them are very good and helpful for the, but then we also, like we said, we want to be kind of like, we fill in the cracks, so we took over the Christmas tree.
The angel
I was
tree.
going to say, one of my
angel tree.
favorite things that we do about community outreach is every November or December, I don't remember which month it is, we do our favorite things. And each of us come up with 3 local places that we really like to shop from that are, mom and pop places. And it really promotes those smaller businesses, and encourages people to go out there and, support the small businesses.
Fun.
Yeah, and then as things need to be done at the association, we've kind of picked up and like we had a community outreach committee that kind of fizzled and was going away, but they had a really important job, which was the angel tree every December. So it went to the board who was going to do this. We don't want to have the association not be involved anymore. So YPN picked it up,
Right.
And that's kind of what our MO has been, is if something needs to happen, we make sure that as a committee, we either do it ourselves or we support whatever other committee is doing it. So we're going to be partnering up with the GAP committee, which is it's the
GAAR Ambassador
GAAR
Program.
Ambassador Program, and they're actually doing a pretty big event.
So
coming
every
up
year,
here.
GAP does a qualifying broker summit.
Okay.
Or event. This year, it's a statewide summit. They're calling it the Great Event, I believe. And they're going to have speakers, from all over the country and all sorts of great stuff. So that'll be in November.
Right. And so we'll be helping them kind of staff that, or I
Yeah,
guess,
volunteer wherever they need us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and that's what we do at YPN.
That's one of the things that you do.
It really is.
One of the things that you
Yeah.
do.
Well, and that's kind of
Many.
every time somebody asks me, well, what is YPN? I'm like, well,
What isn't
what-
YPN?
for real? And I have been very guilty of every time a task comes up, I'm the one who always raises my hand and goes, YPN committee can do that. Like we said, you should sit in a board meeting where they're like, Josh, let YPN on their own, because I'm always volunteering for something.
No,
or another.
but we really are everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look throughout the country, you have chairs at YPN that sit on, like they sit on their PAC, because we'll talk about our PAC, but they sit on their PAC because they're the liaison between YPN and the PAC and helping with stuff like that. There's certain YPNs that, they have a seat at their local board and they get to
That's why
sit
I ran
on their board.
I ran for our board because I felt like YPN should, at least be represented.
Right, and so and they have certain boards will let their YPN chair sit there and be that representative, and to me that's just indicative of how important YPN is in the community and the things that we do and why we're here, because otherwise they wouldn't be allowing us to sit in these positions, right? So I think that that's very important as well.
Yeah. Well, I know we've touched on it a lot, and I think we can shift gears finally to what is RPAC? And then I know you probably have a lot of information on RPAC.
Okay, I have notes because I had a bullet point in my notes only because I can say so much. Essentially, RPAC, we are the most bipartisan PAC, really. And when I say bipartisan, I mean we are truly, truly bipartisan. Like, we support candidates.
Right. It's more about policy.
It's
than
more about
actual
policy.
politics.
Exactly. So we support policy. We support candidates on both sides of the aisle. Blue or red, it doesn't matter. We are looking at
Purple.
the policies. We are looking at what we call them is realtor champions. Like, who is your realtor champion? Who is going to fight for the things that are important to the realtor community, to private properties, to homeowners? These are the people that we work with, and these are the people that we endorse. And so we invest to have a foot in the door and to have a voice.
Right. Have a seat at the table. One of our RPAC advocates here in New Mexico famously says that, if you're not at the table, you're actually for dinner.
Right.
And so he talks about, you make your friends in advance, and the way that you do that is that you invest. And you make sure that you have a voice and you have a seat at the table.
Yes.
And that's really what our event, our Kentucky Derby event is all about.
Right.
Is making sure that we are supporting that PAC, and really home ownership and private property rights, and I can tell you, sitting on the legislative committee for the state,
Yeah.
we have a voice because of this.
We really do.
When I send a text or I call my senator that I represent, they listen. They want to know what we are thinking. They understand that we have a unique perspective as to what is happening within our communities and our state, and they look for our advice, and it's very, very powerful.
It is we are very powerful as the realtor organization, and we actually are one of the biggest PACs, I think, right? So our efforts are seen, and so we're able to fight for home ownership. We're able to fight for property investment and strong communities, and fight against unfair real estate taxes and eminent domain and anything that has to do with unbalanced zoning, harmful sign ordinances, things like that. So these are all things that we go to our legislative and we talk about these issues because they are important to us. They're important to the way we do business. They're important to the communities that we serve. And so the thing about it is you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes not that they're trying to be harmful in any way, but sometimes they don't understand the repercussions of some of the legislative that they want to pass down. And so they don't understand. So this is where our voice comes in, and we're like, hey, if we do this, this is the cause and effect of this proposal, right? So now we're getting to speak about how this is going to affect the way we do business, the way people buy homes, the way that it's going to affect our economy. So it's very, very important. And so, like you said, if you're not at the table, you're getting eaten.
Yeah, and we're representative of the public. That's our job, is to serve the public and to give the best that we can. So I think that's why we make sure that we're at the table, right?
Right. And so YPN especially, so I do, let's talk about, since we're talking about our PAC, let's talk about the 10 for 10 pledge.
Yes, absolutely.
Because now this is where YPN comes in.
I can tell you, so we got 5 the
Last
first year.
year?
The last year at our Derby event, I got 5 of these, myself included, right? So I'm on my second year of my 10 for 10. I plan on hopefully getting at least that many today, at our, back when the Kentucky Derby happened, just kidding.
Right, yeah, we're pre-recorded.
But that's really my big goal is to promote this pledge. So
How many of you guys are on the National Association of Realtors YPN? How many of you guys follow the National
Facebook
NAR
page?
YPN page?
I do, absolutely.
So have you guys seen? We've been trying really hard. So AB has been trying really hard to recognize.
Yeah.
I
was posting.
pledges.
I was on the Instagram and the Facebook.
There you go.
When
We
I
don't
pledged.
have an Instagram, but you saw it on the Facebook.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
So we have been we've been very encouraging about, yes, this is what we do. Look at how strong we are, to kind of show who we are as YPN nationally. And the 10 for 10 pledge is what it is you are committing to investing $10,000 in 10 years to our PAC. Sounds scary. I remember when I was asked to do it, I was like, that's a lot of money, like $10,000 in 10 years. If you break it down, it's $1,000 a year. If you want to break it down even more, you can actually invest that money, $100 a month. You could break it down. I mean, we can do all kinds of breakdown. But that's what the 10 for 10 pledge is. And then there's other ways to invest. We can talk about, I completed my pledge last year, actually. I completed my pledge in 4 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not because I'm rich, but so there's different levels. I invested in President Circle,
That's what I
and
was
so
saying. You must be doing President Circle. Right?
I started doing President Circle, and that's probably a whole nother podcast. But so that kind of helps you get there a little faster. But it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and you're investing to pledge, and you can do $100 a year as long as you commit to those 10,000 before the 10 years.
So what was your secret? I think before we started, you said you had a little tidbit on how you were able to accomplish that in 4 years.
I invested in President Circle.
Okay, so that
Which
was...
is a bigger RPAC contribution per year.
It's really not that big. Well, it is. Yeah,
It's bigger than the $1,000.
Right.
it's a little more.
Right. It's $2,000, I think, to start off.
It
Correct.
depends on the level of investment that you want to make. There's different levels.
Right.
And
Yeah. The difference with President Circle is it gets you more involved with your local legislature too. You then get a list of candidates or
actually, it's national.
National, okay.
Yes.
So you get a list of basically people that are realtor champions that you get to then personally invest in and endorse. So, and which creates the relationship, that they know that money's coming from you personally, that you're actually putting your skin in the game.
Yeah.
Is the way that we think about it.
Yeah. Well, that's actually kind of cool because it's not like I'm just saying, I'm just giving $10,000 to the RPAC committee and like, I don't know where it's going, but it's doing something good. Like, right? Like that I think is even better that
Right.
you get to be like, hey, I know where this is going.
Yeah, you
That's
do.
cool.
And you get a list because it is national. So you get a list of national candidates, and then you get to choose where you want to invest your money.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, and you can spread it out.
You can spread it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
mean, even
awesome.
the breakdown you gave of just donating $100 a month. If you're technically, if you're doing that, you're going
Investing.
to, sorry, investing. Good clarification.
Well, because you
But you're-
can't write it off. It's not a donation because you can't write it off.
Right.
Right.
So you're investing, but if you're doing $100 a month, you're going to beat your pledge of the 10 years, right? Because that's technically
I'm telling you, that's
$1,200.
how I plan. When I took this pledge, I was not thinking I'm going to all of a sudden write a $10,000 check or even a $1,000 check. I absolutely planned on breaking it up throughout the year. That's why we have the beauty of our Kentucky Derby and the other RPAC events that we have throughout the year in our state, that all kind of go towards our goals. And that way you don't have to literally just shell out at any one given time. And I love that, like at the Kentucky Derby, we're having an auction, and you should see some of the auction items. You can actually bid on these items, go towards your investment, and get something tangible that's, really cool. And, some of them are, we have beautiful art things. We've got like antique stuff. We've got
Date night idea.
date night ideas. We've got, for real, we've got like, what is it? There's like a grill, there's a popcorn machine, it's
All
gonna be a
sorts
lot
of fun
It's
stuff.
gonna be really cool. And then we're also having some door prizes as well. So we'll do a suit contest, a hat contest, and a couples contest
Oh,
as
fun.
well. So
We're gonna
This
win
should
the
be-
couples.
we better. You're gonna have to step up your hat game.
Maybe you just need a new suit.
Well, have you seen her hat?
I have. It's incredible, actually.
Okay.
She's doing really good. She's doing really good. Yeah, so that's going to be really exciting. I'm actually, we're doing it bigger, and we invited the entire state because, as we said in the beginning, we're trying very hard to promote YPN throughout.
Right.
So we invited all the associations. We invited the state association. We actually went for our grant through the state in order to kind of pull everybody in together. And that's the plan for the Derby.
And I think the assumption going into the years to come is that it's going to be a good, hey, bring the state together to share ideas type of event as the other YPNs grow, right?
Well, we're in a state where, so the Albuquerque Association is there's almost 5,000 realtors in the Albuquerque Association, members of the Albuquerque Association alone. That's a huge portion of our entire state. And there's associations around the state where there's like 10 members kind of thing. And they still have the same goals nationwide. They still have the same things that they have to accomplish. They still have, and for some of them, it's really tedious and really hard to do this. But when we started looking at it and, we started looking at, what's our next thing, we started looking at a state level, we're doing really well here in Albuquerque. What could we do to promote everything on a bigger level?
So one of the great things about what NAR will do is if you're a brand new chapter, like if you want to open a brand new YPN at an association level, we have a grant that $500 to help anybody get started. You kind of got to jump on it because that money goes fast. But to me, see, the way that I look at it is if you got to jump on it because that money goes fast, that means that people are really excited about actually opening networks, right? Because like if that money's going fast, that just goes to show you how fast we're growing and how exponentially big we're getting, because we started off a little and now we're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it doesn't seem like we're slowing down anytime soon. So if anybody wants to get started with a new network, did you guys receive the grant? Did you guys apply for it through NAR?
We didn't. So what we knew is that we had people at the table that were really good at networking
Okay.
and had friends.
Okay.
And so what we did was we planned our first event and we got it sponsored. Basically, we found a restaurant that was opening up and coming, and we were like, how would you like to promote your restaurant to however many realtors we can get in here for a certain amount of time?
Right.
We will actually pay for food and like a drink for each person.
Yeah.
But we want to use your whole space kind of
Right.
thing. And they were on board, right?
Yeah.
And then we reached out we got a mortgage company, actually. It was Rob used to represent them. We won't say who they are. But we got a mortgage company to actually pay for that food and the drink, and then everything else was just us. We promoted it ourselves and through our association, and we threw a party, and that was the way that we kicked it off to let everybody know.
Yeah.
And then we went in front of every new member orientation. We had a member of our committee that went in front of every single every time new members were coming into this building. We had one of us show up and just kind of talk about what YPN was and what it could offer, and
Which we still do.
Which we still do, and we've left our committee basically open, where we have, in order to kind of vote, if we have to vote, you have to have attended the last 3 meetings.
Yes.
But
to become a committee member, right?
Right, but we don't say, hey, you can't show up to our meeting and become one.
Right.
You can show up and you can start sitting in.
Absolutely.
And you can start helping us
Right.
do whatever.
We don't
at
wanna
any
turn you
time.
away.
We're never
Right.
going to turn
Yeah.
anybody away, and that's kind of where we've gone. And that's what that's what I definitely am promoting throughout the state, is that whole mentality of this is the committee that really brings everybody in and everybody together.
Seems like you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much for that. It's a little stressful.
It's a lot of hard work, that's for sure, yeah.
Anything that's worth it can be a little stressful, though, right?
Well, that's
Yes.
kind of what it is we set our goals a little higher than I think that
No. No, that's good. Don't say that.
I
Shoot for the moon and land on a star, right?
that could be my next quote.
Oh, man. Well,
How
so
we doing on
I was
time?
going to say, like, if we're running out of time, do you have anything that you want to plug before we start plugging some of our other events?
Yeah, I want to plug for whoever is in your guys' association to come to YPN. Invite you guys. I won't be there, but not because I don't want to, but only because I don't live here. But definitely come join YPN. Come support it. Come see what it's all about. Get involved. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. Show up. It's fun. It's fun to work with your peers and to
Right.
network with your peers. And sometimes you just need that little push because you don't know what's out there. And come join you guys.
Well, and we've found very talented people. I have to say, I didn't know Rob before we started this, and Rob's an all-star.
Oh,
like we've got we have throughout our existence, we have had some members that started. They were brand new realtors that really had some good experience that they can add to things. Really had insight that we didn't have before.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
People that had worked in catering, had worked in whatever. And we start talking about different things we wanted to do, and they're like, "Well, actually, I know a lot about this."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
Like YPN, I tell everybody, it's about bringing everybody together. It's the network.
And to kind of go back around to kind of where we started, right? Let's kind of do it in a circle and kind of close up. But I have gotten to where I am in leadership, and I have a long ways to go, but I've gotten to where I am in leadership because of YPN, because YPN had opened those doors for me. And somebody actually said to me, my very first YPN meeting, when I was like, oh, maybe I want to get involved, somebody said, come to YPN.
Yeah.
That's a great committee to get started in. And I went to a YPN meeting and I had no idea what was going on. And I walked in the room and everybody was screaming and everybody's crazy. But, the energy was great. It was screaming in a good way. But the energy was great. And I was like, these are my people. And so, through YPN, I've gotten to go through leadership. I've gotten to, mentor people. I've gotten to now I get to sit on this on YPN AB, and I absolutely love it. And I get to travel, I get to meet great people throughout our country. Like, I get to network, I get to do all of the things that I love, and it started with YPN.
I can say exactly the same thing. I was basically committee member for like the golf thing, and I did a couple of different committees, and then YPN, starting off our YPN committee and kind of planning it and learning all of the things that we do really promoted me to run for the board, and do more things at the state level and join other committees at both levels, and that kind of thing. I don't think that if I would have been in this position that I really would have probably grown in those ways or even thought about them. It never really occurred to me that I wanted to be a board member or, a president of the association until I was in here and seeing what happens.
Right.
And I got to tell you, like the Facebook page, if you guys aren't a member of the YPN Facebook page nationwide, it's really
NAR.
it's awesome. Like there isn't really a group of people that is more supportive to each other than that group.
Absolutely.
I can tell you that if I have ever reached out with a question or somebody's going somewhere or somebody's coming into our state or there's always somebody that has the right answers or even like when I took my pledge, there's people from all over the country going, right on, way to go, good job, and I do it. When I see that somebody else pledged, I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome, like
way to go.
Really, like it is. It's like the excitement is really there.
The excitement is there, and like I said, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of great energy, and it gets you pumped, and it makes you just want to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I'm hearing from you is it's a great way to give back, right? It's a great way to give back to the association and be a mentor, like you said, for the newer realtors, and then also for the community. We do a lot for the community, and if you want to do that type of stuff, but you don't know where to get started, join YPN.
Join YPN.
Right.
We're all here to help.
It's a great way to get baby steps in on
Every
stuff.
time somebody goes, I don't know how to volunteer, I go, YPN.
For real. Yeah.
Yep, that's your first.
And it's great, and you're absolutely right, and all of you guys are right. We're all here to support each other, and honestly, we can't do it without each other, right? Like, we are here to help each other grow, to help each other learn, and to help each other rise.
Mm-hmm. And why not get started at our next event, the coffee meetup that's going to be right after this airs at Sweet Cup, right?
Yep.
Wyoming
And Comanche. Yep.
Awesome.
10 a.m.
We will be at.
Hopefully I get to go.
Yeah,
to this
it's kind of a cool little place. It's more than just coffee. I don't even know if they have coffee, to be honest. They have like a bunch of sweet treats. Like they have the macaroons and boba tea and stuff like that. So it's a lot of cool stuff there. I'm excited because it's right down the street from my house.
It's 10 a.m.
And let me tell you, and if you guys don't think that, higher level leadership is not looking at you guys, they're looking. They look at all YPN, and that's really, I want to stress that only because it's such a special feeling, like, that everybody thinks that we're just like the party kids, but we have a lot of fun while we do all of this.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that leadership is actually recognizing the work that we're doing.
Absolutely.
It's special.
And what
It's
we
very
do matters,
special.
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much for being here.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you for
I'm
coming.
so happy to
Thank you
come.
for coming to our Derby event.
I'm so
And
happy to
It's
be
so
here.
much fun.
I can't wait.
I gotta tell you, it's so much a labor of love for me. Like this was like my dream.
Yeah.
And it means so much to have you here with us.
And it means
enjoy.
a lot for me to be here. So I'm super excited.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So we'll see you at Sweet Cup at 10 a.m.